guess you are doing your part.
What's going on, chat? Give me 1 second. I have to restart something. Not the stream, chat. Just uno momento.
I'm bringing back my loosey goosey news too. You know what? Let's
Hi,
throw out a
Tina.
little few loose ones out there. Man, you know what? Hey, Project CD Red, I need you to hear me and hear me well, and I hope we recording. Need you to hear me, all right? Y'all got to do better with these love interests in this game, all right?
Here we go. Here we go.
Panam getting on my goddamn nerves, okay?
That's what you wanted, man.
She live in my house. Every time I leave, it's just come back and do the mission. She keeps coming up on my mission log. It's only so much cereal and showers I can take. All right?
You're getting a high-pitched whine. 1 second.
Oh, I took this picture because it's a dope skyline, but...
Let me know if you're still getting it. Could be because that, I think it's coming from my mic. Hold on. It's gone now, right?
What's up, pal?
Okay. Yeah, it was the ground loop isolator. It was too close to the mixer. Sorry about that. Too much electricity in one place.
Too much sizzle. Good morning, everyone who wants to do their part. I suppose I could be a part of it.
Yeah, you're going to do your part, man. I'm sick of it, bro.
Oh, God. That's why the game don't work. It ain't doing its part.
They're trying. Hey, shout out to everybody, man.
They didn't expect this, huh?
What's going on,
but
guys?
People
Happy
don't
Saturday,
realize,
everybody.
and servers just don't come out of nowhere either. So,
like I said, man, it's a smaller studio. They have a nice budget.
Y'all gonna have to.
You know, it is what it
when
is.
I say y'all, I'm not talking about like us or the community. I'm saying people in general. Like servers just don't pop out of nowhere, bro.
They sure don't.
It's gonna take some time for them to kind of course correct this, which is unfortunate because I hope people don't get discouraged and fall off the game.
They won't. I don't think so. I don't think the popularity is gonna go anywhere. Could be, and the reason why I say that is because of the way that the studio's been like talking to the community and stuff, being real open about shit. You know, giving out free XP.
You can't give out free XP to draw more people. You can't, like, bro.
Hey, man, good problem to have, man. Good problem to have.
You gotta know, because what you gotta do is you gotta wait. I mean, I guess they did it in good faith, but it would be smart for them to kind of wait until they stabilize the servers and then be like, hey, well, since, to draw people back in too, because you could be like, hey, well, we.
Oh, hello.
Ooh.
There you are.
Oops, I think I clicked on something. Hold on.
He was like, Sergey, I hope you're doing okay, man. I saw your message in chat. And yes, we will be playing Helldivers 2 today if the servers hold up. But I hope everything's all right in your home country, man. I know things are a little scary out there. So we're gonna send some prayers your way, man. Hope you and your family and stuff are safe.
Stay safe out there, Sergey.
Yeah, we'll be getting started here in a minute, guys. Thank y'all for hanging out today, man. Just let me know if our voices sound weird, if you guys hear any more buzzing sounds, anything like that before we get started. Let me know, please, and thank you.
And I think I've gotten rid of the flickering because I haven't seen nothing flickered since I completely destroyed my PC last week. Ran 6,254 tests. It seems to have somewhere. I kind of pinpointed what was happening. Somewhere, somehow, there's something that I'm doing that's creating corrupted files that's causing that.
Interesting.
But I have a program that I bought that fixes corrupted files, the one that I sent you on the phone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that seems to be working. I just want a pod. I don't care about anything else. So, and the flickering seems to be kind of messing up the pod, but we're here. I haven't had no flickering all week. I've been running my PC pretty hard, been playing games, left open 1,000 tabs just to see if I can cause some trouble. But we good.
Yeah, we'll be all right. Once again, thank you guys for hanging out today, man. Like I said, if it's your first time here, man, welcome to the show, baby. We're gonna have a good episode today. Gonna talk about some fun things, not so fun things, And then we will hopefully play Helldivers 2 after the podcast. If things hold up, we'll see.
You guys can do your part.
Appreciate you guys being here. Anybody that follows tips, subs, bits, any of that stuff, all the notifications are turned off because we are recording live and we want to keep that stuff off of the recording. But if you do any of that, we appreciate you and thank you very much.
Wait, is that a broom? Hold on.
Oh man, were you trying to get her to? Oh gosh, you telling her to sweep? Come on, DC.
Hey man, Black History Month. I didn't tell her to do anything. I was sweeping. Nobody's seen. Oh, there it is.
There you go.
Wait,
yeah.
Y'all like my helmet?
Wakanda forever. All right, I'm done. All right, let's do this. Let's have a good episode, guys. Hello. Welcome to episode 178 of the Super Weapon Podcast, most overpowered podcast on the internet. It's your boy Darius the Artist, and as always, got my co-host DC here with me today.
What up, though? It's your favorite know-it-all who don't know nothing at all. The divine casual himself, DC, which is me.
Oh, insert applause. Yeah. What's going on, guys? Happy Saturday, man. Another fine day, another lovely podcast. 2024 has been starting off with some heat, man.
Boy.
A lot of, we got some good games we're gonna be talking about. Yeah, a lot of news. And I know you guys are here for the Xbox stuff, of course. We're here to talk about it as well. And I mean, I guess we could just talk about the announcement itself. So it was like a 20-minute podcast, with them talking about. If you missed last week's episode, there were rumors about them bringing games to other platforms. A lot, like Starfield, some high-profile stuff. The rumors really just kind of got out of control. But they came on, Xbox leadership, Phil Spencer, Matt Booty. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name. Sarah Bond. Thank you. Yeah, and the host, I forget the young lady's name as well. But and they really kind of cleared up everything, man. There's a lot to talk about with it. I mean, I kind of feel like it was a nothing burger with some stuff in there, but I'm really
nothing burger.
Yeah, I feel like it was we're gonna talk about it. I want to hear your opinion on it and like what are your kind of like your overall thoughts, because for people who don't know, you're
gonna put me under the fire, huh? Well,
yeah,
I am
like
the Xbox representative,
just like
right?
initial impressions, right? Like, because everybody made this into a big thing, and
myself included. I'm not gonna lie. I thought we were going to get some ground-shaking,
right,
earth-shattering news. I'm not going to sit up here in front. I was sending out tweets and hyping up a whole bunch of pretty much nothing. My initial impressions of this whole meeting, like I told you right before we started the podcast, I watched it 3 times.
Right.
And each time I watched it, the more I realized that we were getting a lot of, how do we say it?
It's
corporate talk?
Yeah, corporate speak.
Corporate mumbo jumbo, whatever you want to call it. I feel like, I understand. I kind of understand, but at the same time, it's like, the majority of this stuff, we kind of already knew, right? If you keep up with Xbox and what's going on with them, like, to me, they didn't really say anything earth-shattering or groundbreaking. Even with the what was it, the multi-platform, which games were going multi-plat,
right?
Like, there was nothing really like groundbreaking there, which could be a good thing depending on how you look at it. Like, that does mean, hey, Xbox isn't coming to an end and all this other crazy stuff that was flying around the internet.
Doom and gloom.
Yeah, oh my God, it's over for Xbox, blah, blah, blah. Hey, look, we even went with the title of, is it over for Xbox? Look, we trying to catch some eyes, all right? Leave us alone. But, yeah, man, the bottom line is, I feel like they even said it in the meeting, right? They were supposed to have this meeting a while ago. Right?
Yeah, and it
was something that they were working on. So, no, let it out, brother, please. Don't hold it in.
My biggest gripe with, I think, the current Xbox, the current, how we kind of view the brand is, I feel like I said it, and I said this last episode, I feel like they have a huge communication issue to the point that things, it's like, it starts out with a rumor, or Phil drops a memo, and then it starts, hey, I think this means that people are playing telephone a lot of the times, and then Xbox kind of gets into this defensive position. They're like, no, 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 we actually meant this. I really feel like that is the thing that's their Achilles heel, is their communication, man, with the community. I mean, you even,
Mm-hmm.
and just like you said, you got caught up in it. You even had people who were talking about selling their Xboxes and just, I'm not a fan anymore. And they were just they were going nuts, man.
Yeah, the
And
Xbox Reddit community was on fire. Like the Xbox, internet Xbox was, man, they were at their wits' end. And I still believe some of that, if not, like it's still there. Like people are still kind of on the fritz. I don't think a lot of people are really jiving with the direction in which Xbox is, well, they supposedly supposed to be heading, right?
right. But that's the thing, though, right? I feel like they repeated a lot of the things that they've been saying over the last couple of years, where they've talked about expanding Xbox and putting it on every screen, or wanting to put a bigger focus in the Game Pass and putting that everywhere. And they even mentioned, how Game Pass went up from, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago when they reported it. It's up to 34 million subscribers, which is pretty crazy. And I think a lot of people just kind of looked at this situation and freaked out because they thought that Xbox was just really giving up on everything, right? That's how bad the rumors got out of control. But if you look at what the last, and we are going to talk about PlayStation as well, because they had like an interesting earnings call where they talked about bringing things to other platforms, specifically focusing more on PC.
Mm-hmm.
There's a hard cap that these two companies are starting to realize that they're going to hit, if they haven't already, with hardware sales. We talked about, they lose money on every console that they sell, that they make, and it's not getting, game development is not getting any cheaper. AAA game development in particular. I mean, they're really starting to kind of. I think we're starting to see a multi-platform approach outside of just console gaming. Like I really feel like Sony and Xbox are trying to evolve past just being console makers. I feel like, I really do feel like that. I mean, you look at everything that they've talked about, and they didn't announce the 4 games either, but there's speculation, of course. It was a Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment. Um, I'm forgetting the other two that people are rumored that they think will come, but I think it was Grounded and something else, another game that's been out for a little over a year. I don't see what the issue is with games making more money and more revenue, or them trying to continue. They want to continue to support things like Game Pass and some of these other indie projects that they're working on. And I don't see why people were upset that Microsoft is exploring this as well. I mean, you had MLB The Show come out on Xbox. What was it, last year? That's
Mm-hmm.
developed by Sony. So I just, people just
Which a
gotta.
lot of people kind of glazed over that.
They
You know
did.
what I'm saying? But
They
that's a
did.
prime example. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like in the long haul, like I feel like you're going to have time exclusives. I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel like
Yeah, I'm
honestly
fine with
is
it.
that's how the future. I think that's the future of gaming. If we're being honest here, like maybe not the big heavy hitters, right? Because you got to have something
Right.
to make people want to come to your console, right? So you may not have the heavy hitters like a God of War or like the big three like God of War, Spider Man.
Halo, or yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You're gonna keep those, but I feel like the smaller exclusives, they'll be like a year, maybe a time thing, a time I said a time thing, time exclusive, maybe about a year timeline.
Right.
And then maybe it'll be introduced to like Xbox. I could see Xbox doing the same thing, vice versa. I think that is going to be a thing because, like they said, the more people that have access to the games, the more money these developers make. And what we have to realize, this is what I want people listening to realize, these games are just costly.
It's not
The
getting
gaming
cheaper
industry is in a conundrum right now. They're trying to figure out how are we going to keep producing these games
at the scale that, and
and
at the pace that we're doing it. I mean,
and making money, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see where the gaming industry is in the next 5 years.
I mean, hey, shout out to Darkstar and Ivan in the chat, guys. Hey, if you guys are listening to this podcast, we do record this live every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys come on down there, twitch.tv.com/there's to come hang out with us. But he even kind of touched on that too. Like, we can talk about that as well. Like, they kind of gave a peek into the future of what their plans may or may not be for consoles. Phil and Matt Booty kind of touched on it, where back years ago, the main selling point for gaming was the console itself, and then you had the games. But now it's kind of flipped the other way, where particular games are bigger than the platforms that they belong on. I mean, you look at Fortnite, you look at Roblox, you look at Minecraft. These games are bigger than Xbox and PlayStation, essentially. And as we kind of get to this point where we're starting to, the streaming technology and cloud-based technology and stuff, this is stuff that Microsoft is developing in-house. I mean, I think a lot of times people forget that Microsoft is a software company, and PlayStation and Xbox is a part of their business. Where I look at Sony, I think PlayStation first. I don't think their TVs and the hardware, the other kind of stuff that they make. Like, Microsoft is really looking past just the set-top box. I mean, of course, you're going to always need buy-in, which is, I agree with what you said about the timed exclusives, where I don't think we'll ever get to a point where games will be completely, where exclusive games will just cease to exist. I think you are going to have those marquee, like you said, your Last of Us, your Spider-Mans, your Gears of War, those really tentpole things to bring people into your ecosystem. Because I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't ever see Game Pass going to any PlayStation console or platform. I don't ever see it existing in that same space, right?
Right.
But Microsoft is focused on screens. They're focused on everything, phones, tablets. They're really trying to expand Game Pass and gaming to be more than just the hardware itself. And I mean, I kind of see that, where I think that's where we're eventually going. I think there's a strong possibility that the next consoles that come out are completely digital. They're going to do away with the disc trays. I really do feel like that. And you notice how they're talking, both sides are kind of talking a little bit more about next generation, which makes me think it's not as far off.
That claim.
Yeah,
right?
it makes me feel like the next generation of consoles isn't as far off as people think. And I'm starting to change my mind on that too. And I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
I think, because they're both making a claim that they're going to have the most powerful next-gen console, however you want to word it, right? They both put their flags in the sand, and they're both claiming it, right? So here's a theory that I think. I think with COVID kind of stagnating the launch of these consoles, this generation consoles, I think we may see the next gen consoles sooner than later. I think they're ready to.
We will. I don't know why. Like, I keep,
it's already been 4 years.
I mean, you even look at like Nintendo right now. There's so many rumors that there's some sort of there's supposed to be an alleged Nintendo Direct next month that could hint at the next Switch or whatever console, but I think just yesterday I was reading that it may not come out till after March of next year. Which is insane to me. Like, we don't talk a lot about Nintendo, but I felt like that was worth mentioning. I feel like Nintendo's at this point where they're still gonna kind of hold on to their ways. Like, I don't ever really see Nintendo
they gonna drag that thing out. Strategically.
You're never gonna see Mario on Xbox or Game Pass, or you never. And I really wonder where they're gonna kind of fit into the industry. Like, do they kind of stick into that nostalgia retro part of the industry that they are? You know what I mean?
We talk about this all the time, and we have our biggest Nintendo representative in the chat, Mr. Ivan over here. But Nintendo just live on their own planet. We say this all the time.
They do.
They sell like hotcakes. They don't have to switch anything. That plumber's crack is always gonna sell. All right. And I mean that literally and figuratively. That plumber's crack is undeniable, bro.
Oh man.
Like, what Nintendo got over there, man, it's a money making machine. Okay,
It's just
but
interesting, man. Like I do like I feel like we could see. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if it was as early as 2026. If they just completely forego the mid-gen refresh. I mean, there's still all these heavy rumors about PS5 Pro dev kits, touching some developers' hands. But
mhm.
I just like, do you think we could see consoles that soon? I mean, 6 years I know sounds like a long time from 2020, but I don't know,
What we
man.
at 20?
We're
What we
2024 right now.
2023? 24?
We're 24 now. Yep.
Damn, we in 2024. Boy,
Happy
I
New
need to lay
Year
off the
today. Yeah,
stuff.
Happy New Year's, man.
Oh, welcome back, DC.
Welcome
We
back to the
only been in
future.
2024 for 2 months. Damn, boy, where was you at?
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, hey man, 2 years. If we get a late 2026, I could see it happening. Late 2026, I could see it.
No, Ivan, that's funny that you mentioned that because they mentioned yesterday in that same earnings call that they feel like the PlayStation 5 is, I think, more than halfway through its life cycle, which is
yeah,
interesting.
yes,
That
and
was
that's
that
what
was from
got
the CEO of
everyone.
PlayStation. Yeah, that really kind of got everyone talking about it. And now you have both sides really kind of hinting at, Microsoft saying, making the claim that the next generation of Xbox will be the biggest technical leap ever. Which, if they introduce something with AI, I mean, with the way AI is developing right now, that's actually not too
Mm,
far fetched.
man, listen. All right, that look, yeah,
Because AI
it
is
can
scary. I
happen.
don't know if you guys have seen what the new AI modeling thing, the Sora from OpenAI, but it's real scary out here. That's all I'm gonna say, man. So you
Every
could,
episode we tell you this, but I really mean it because I see something crazier every freaking week with AI. I see something or I hear something in the news, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this to ourselves? At this point, stop making shit. All
right?
right, just stop. Y'all ain't gonna be happy until it's T2 in this bitch.
It's interesting, man. I just, I could see them doing that. Um, so Weenie in the chat said, unless that's a ploy trying to force Microsoft to rush something out while PlayStation takes their time and does it right. See, that's the thing, though.
Ooh,
Microsoft,
espionage.
Microsoft, I don't feel like is super worried about what PlayStation is doing at this point because you kind of have this situation where I think they're more focused on Game Pass, if I'm being completely honest. Like I don't think that they
That
would.
was a big Game Pass ad, Darius. Let's just be real.
Yeah,
Let's
it
call it
was.
what it
It
was.
was.
It was a 20-minute Game Pass X Cloud ad. That's all they were talking about. You notice they kept using buzzwords
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
you know, we want people to play everywhere, anywhere, on the toilet, up in the air, blah blah blah. Like they just kept repeating.
Right.
Y'all notice, like, bro, that is training. They kept repeating that throughout the whole 20 minutes. And, I don't want to attack Sarah here, man. Sarah Bond, I
Hey man,
don't.
she's the next head of Xbox. I'm calling it. I've been saying it for years.
Look, Black History Month, I don't want to attack you, Sarah, but you were spewing out a lot of stats with no numbers. And I'm just curious, what are these numbers? She said the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud, double digit growth rate on PC and cloud. What does that mean? What does that mean to the average person watching that podcast? Like, this is what I'm talking about. They just throw out these little snazzy little numbers and fancy
They hit you with a
words
bunch of
and
big words, a lot of numbers and stuff. Yeah, man. But it's I don't disagree with you, man. Like I mean that's really kind of the thing that they do now. Is every ad has like a little Game Pass logo under it. Every trailer has like Game Pass at the end of it. I mean that's
yeah, we've known this for years, guys. We known this for years. They've said this
right.
countless of other times, doing directs and whatever else you may have to consume, that this is where they want to take it. I feel like PlayStation focuses on what they focus on, which is actually making exclusives for their console. I think Xbox is looking to grow the industry, as they say,
Right.
with creating with the creation of Game Pass and xCloud. And that brings me to another thing, right? I believe there's parallels between what they were saying in actual streaming and content creating, but I'll
Okay.
get to that in a minute. Because that's a deep theory right there. That boy, we'll be here all day because we talked about a little bit of this yesterday,
I want
right?
to hear it, man. I want to hear the
Okay,
tinfoil theories.
we'll just dive into it, right? So my man Phil said, quote unquote, I'm kind of paraphrasing here. I'm going off the dome, but he did say this on the podcast. He said, as amazing of a year that we had last year, the industry didn't grow, right?
He sure did.
So he said, to fix this, there's two things that needs to happen. He said, do you focus on the fixed number of players that you have in the space and continue to try to find new ways to monetize that fixed group of players that you have? Or do you think to expand the business by finding new players? I feel like the parallels between that, Twitch, and content creators are kind of right there, because I feel like that also can be applied to content creators. Like, remember we was talking yesterday when I said it seems like the same people kind of collab with each other.
Sure.
There's not really growth. It's like the same people kind of doing the same thing. No one's kind of reaching out to newer upcoming
Audiences, yeah.
talent. Yeah, like I feel like we're seeing the same thing in the Twitch space. So when I saw that, it got my mind to wonder, and I was like, damn, there's kind of a parallel there. Would you agree, or you kind of feel what
Yeah,
I'm
I
putting
mean, you could
down?
you could say that. Like, you could look at what they want to, you could kind of parallel it that way. Like, I think Microsoft just, they've realized quicker than most of the, for the rest of the industry that, they're only going to get so big with just selling consoles. That part of the industry, like I said earlier, like, I think that part of the industry is really kind of starting to plateau. Like, you're gonna, even with, the new things you're gonna have, the new consoles, next generation consoles come up, man. It I don't think you'll see that big of a jump in sales. I really don't, man. I think it's just, at this point, they're really looking at Game Pass as the thing that's gonna not necessarily save their business, but really, just like you said, expand and grow the Xbox brand. Because we're eventually, I mean, hey man, you could play Resident Evil 4 on the iPhone 15. You know what I mean? Like, phones are getting more powerful. I think that Microsoft, I wouldn't be surprised if they're looking at the handheld market to kind of really figure out how to not necessarily like develop some sort of, which I think would be cool, but like a handheld Xbox console, like a la Steam Deck,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like they're looking at that part of the market because there is new growth there for people as well as younger gamers as well. I mean, it's crazy. So it's interesting, man. Like, I think we're gonna yeah, man. Like, I think, just, I mean, with the value of Game Pass and how cheap it is compared to the prices of games now, things are only getting more expensive. I feel like that's gonna be their buy-in. That's really gonna be their buy-in into expanding outside of just console sales. And I mean, it kind of brings up a good question, man. Like, do you think we're at a point that there will ever be a point where, I don't want to say consoles become obsolete, but we could just see like Microsoft move away from the traditional set top box? Like, I could see us getting like a streaming stick, or some sort of small, just, you plug into the back of your TV, and you can just like
We talked about this before. And people thought I was crazy when I said this. I feel like the next console is going to be weird coming from Xbox, because I think they're ready to finally.
right,
I think they're ready to finally jump across that line and push the envelope a little bit. I feel like PlayStation is kind of pushing them to do that a little bit with the way that their business model is structured and the way that they are dropping their games. I feel like I say that because I feel like Xbox want to take a different approach and
right,
kind of get eyes back on them. So I feel like with this next gen console that's coming sooner than later, we could see some things like maybe like um what you call it, like the apps for your TV
You
or
get an Xbox
and we
app, or
still
yeah, that'd be
yeah,
cool.
but and I still think that it's going to be hard for people to kind of latch on to that because we're so stuck on like a physical console, right?
We are.
And I
We
still
still
think
we
we're gonna have those, but like you said last episode, I think it would be something smaller, more portable. Like, cause you see how the what is it, the Xbox, the little Xbox, how
the
that
Series
sells.
S, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Series S sells pretty well for people who use it as a app machine, or I know a lot of people who bought it just for Game Pass. Like a lot of people
That's
like, oh
true.
well, I don't want to spend $500-600, but I do want access to Game Pass. They might not have a computer, so I do
And
feel like
people travel with it as well. Just to bring that up,
yeah, yeah, and it's
you have
easy.
people that
It's
travel
easy
with
to
it.
travel with.
So you could just
My nephew, shout out to him.
people will take like a little portable monitor, and you can play games. I'm sure if you have a good enough Wi-Fi connection, or if you just want to play something single player. But it's just like you bring up a lot of good points there, man. You really do. Like that's just really where I think. I don't want to say in the next 5 to 10. I would probably say 10 to 15 years. We'll probably get something along those lines. You know,
From both sides
I think
too.
so. Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
PlayStation as well gonna start to find different ways to be more accessible to people. And I mean that by not sharing their games or something. Like I'm just saying, like as far as the system goes
nah. I
itself.
mean, they're a little bit slower to change, but I think they realize the same things that Xbox has. I mean, I don't. I think we'll get to a point in a couple years where they will release major PlayStation. I don't know. Maybe like I wouldn't say your Spider Mans or anything, but you'll have a couple of games that will come day and date to PC. I mean, look at
But I mean,
Helldivers.
even
Look at Helldivers 2 right now. That's a game that they published
oh
the
yeah, that
game
is
and they funded
true.
the
That is
game.
a PlayStation.
Yeah, it's technically like they call it second party, where one studio makes it, but they foot the bill for it essentially, and it's exclusive to their platform. But I mean, that game, gosh, man. Besides the fact that I enjoy playing the game is like incredibly popular right now, and that they're probably looking at that like, okay, we could probably do more games like this. You know what I mean? Or have similar strategies, because there is a market for people to want to play those marquee PlayStation titles. I mean, God of War, did numbers when it got released on PC. Spider-Man did numbers when it got released on PC. I think this year either this year or next year we're gonna get Last of Us 2, because we got the first game already on PC, and
Hmm.
Ghost of Tsushima. I think those two games will probably be if I had to guess, maybe we'll get one of those before the end of the year for PC.
And I think that's the future for PlayStation as well. Like
Yeah.
I think you see how they slowly been rolling out some of their hits onto PC, whether it's been good ports or bad ports. I think they're playing around with that idea as well because at the end of the day, you have people who played it on PC for the first time, which mean which means there's potential earning there, right?
Right.
So I think PlayStation, they're not just going to sit on their hands and just because they have like all these exclusives. I'm pretty sure that they're figuring out more ways to monetize within, their content as well.
Yeah, man. And honestly, like I just really can't believe people really thought that Xbox was really not gonna make a console anymore. That would be so bad for gaming. I don't think people realize how bad it would be. Like, just imagine. I want to put this in perspective for people. Imagine if iPhone was the only quote unquote luxury phone, smartphone on the market. Apple would charge an arm and a leg for that phone, and people would still buy it. I'm not saying that
Hmm.
Sony would do the same thing, but competition is good in an industry because it breeds innovation. It makes businesses target become, in my opinion, more consumer friendly because they're trying to outsell their competition. So that would be complete. That would be a terrible idea, like, and Microsoft knows that. So that's why I think we'll always get, whether it's an Xbox 720 or Xbox XYZ or whatever, man. Like, it'll be some sort of box that you can put into a traditional console box. That's what I think. Along with the, you can
I
get the
agree with
stick.
that.
You can get the stick as a secondary option. I mean, they that's what they were kind of hitting at. in that podcast as well. It's like, we're working on, we have family of devices or things that they're looking
Well,
at
they
and
sound
announcements.
very, very, they sound very, very positive.
That's what I'm saying.
About a certain amount of things. And like I said, the whole podcast in itself was pretty much overhyped. It was stuff that they've been talking about, in my opinion. This is
Nothing burger.
nothing new. A nothing burger with a side order of nothing.
Just
Because they didn't, yeah, like, I was at work watching it. And I just want to say, to all the streamers out there, right? I just want to throw this out here.
shame
When
on
you're
you.
covering something like that live as it happens, try not to talk over the person when they're asking questions. It's kind of annoying.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're talking, the lady's like presenting questions to the big three. And the people who were covering it, like, they were like, I understand it's live and you're going to talk to your chat, but you got to kind of find a way to work that in without, because it was parts that I couldn't even hear. I was like, what did she say? Like, what did she say? So,
Oh yeah, that's why I usually just watch
yeah,
the source video for that.
yeah, just take it into consideration. Hold all questions into the end. That's how I would have did it, me personally. Like, all right, guys, I'm gonna talk to y'all, but we're gonna listen to this, and then we can go back and probably
DC
break
wanted
it
to
down.
listen with you guys. All right, don't disappoint him again, streamers. But nah,
Yeah, I want to listen
I
to
agree,
him.
man.
Damn it.
It was a whole lot of nothing. People, including media, as well as like some content creators. I ain't gonna call no names. Really just kind of
Mhm.
blew this out of proportion and fear mongered everyone into thinking that there was this big fight going between Satya Nadella and Phil Spencer and Xbox. Y'all, man, Xbox is it's gonna be Phil is
I
gonna
do
lead.
still, I do still think that there's differences between
Oh
what
sure,
Phil's vision and what others may want. I mean, but that's the part of running a business, right? Like, y'all all not going to 100% agree on everything.
no, absolutely
I
not.
do feel like Phil does have the heart of a gamer out of the big three. That's not to take anything away from Matt Booty or Sarah Bond,
Right.
but I do feel like if I was to pick somebody on the Game and Jeopardy show, it would be Phil. It'd definitely be Phil. He seems like he's very passionate. He's been, what he said, he's been in the industry 20 years, Xbox.
Yeah,
So,
he has. He's been there for a while. I mean, he started. I don't want to say started from the bottom because that's just real corny, but he was one of the. He's been there for a while, so
he's seen a lot. So, I'm pretty sure after sitting at that long table that they sit at, like on Austin Powers, with the villain sitting at the end, crunching numbers and trying to figure it out, this is the route they decided to take, and they're sticking to their guns, man. Like, they've said this 1,000 times before. They want to basically expand Game Pass, and I'm very skeptical about why we haven't seen numbers. We can talk about that,
I want to know
but
how they make money, and they'll never tell us. I agree. I want to know how a game makes money on this. I even looked up. It's funny you mentioned that because I even looked up how. I tried to look up how like shows on Netflix make money through syndication, and it's really hard to find those kind of numbers. Like I looked for Netflix, Hulu, most of the major streaming services. There's no information online about it. It's so hard
hey
to find.
guys, if you keep looking, you might disappear. We gotta pray for Darius.
Like
Pray
is it
for
like
Darius.
because I wonder if it's like a rate per minute type thing for shows, or like if a person watches 20 minutes, you get like a dot. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, and I want to know so bad.
I think the world wants to know.
Because I
Because
mean,
that's one of those things I always wonder about too. And I Google in circles and can't find
yeah.
nothing.
Because my theory is when it comes to gaming services, that Microsoft probably pays out a portion of what they get per person from your sub. They probably pay out a smaller portion for your game being downloaded a certain number of times. Like maybe there's a threshold on like your game has to hit 50,000 downloads to get revenue. An additional 0.5% or something, right? Or and then of course you probably have, the third thing is the obvious, somebody plays a game on Game Pass, they download it, they like it so much they purchase it. So, they don't have to ever worry about not having that game. So that's I can't think of any other way that it would possibly work. I could just be totally wrong on that, but I just want Phil to come on to the podcast and tell us, man. Come on, give us some of that breaking news.
I think that's one of those that they're gonna keep in the vault.
Yeah, we'll never know for sure.
They're gonna keep that in the vault because if that comes out, I feel like that's too much power, bro.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, if you want to give up that sauce, this is the place to do it.
We love it, man. We love the scoop. But yeah, man. So that was pretty much it, guys. As far as the news, man, I think that's a good place to wrap her up. A little bit of a shorter episode, but that's fine.
I do got one thing to say real quick.
Yeah.
One thing on the Xbox podcast that I did notice too was they did say, if y'all caught this toward the end, that they're pretty much gearing up the roadmap to the next gen console.
2026.
Anybody peep that?
That's my theories. 2026.
Anybody peep that? When she said the biggest technical leap you'll ever see in the hardware generation, blah blah blah, she did say they were investing in the next gen roadmap.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're definitely. I think we're either going to hear about it in the next year or see it into. So that's my theory.
Let me just look at my notes. I think I've covered everything. We hit all the target points.
We did, man. That's how she goes, minus our one special guest. But
yeah, we did have a special guest today.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Special guest, but it's been a while since I banned someone. That was actually pretty. It was good. It was nice.
It was exhilarating.
But yeah, man, thank you guys for hanging out, man, for episode 178. We appreciate you guys for being here, man. Make sure you guys follow us on all Super Weapon social, Super Weapon Media, mostly everywhere, especially that YouTube. My boy DC has been dropping shorts. You guys have to go watch those, like them. That's very important, man. We appreciate y'all for being here. You guys can find me everywhere, Darius the Artist on Twitter. I'm never calling it X. It's Darius the Artist where the E is a 3. And I'm gonna
only
let
X
DC
I represent is Project X.
DC, take us home, baby.
Yeah, DC, take us home, baby. I'm gonna repeat it because I don't think they heard you in the back. But yeah, just to set some guidelines since we're ending a little early. Look, we love you all. Okay, we come here, we talk about games, we talk about the things we love. We love interactions from the chat, of course. We love all you guys. But don't you bring that shit in here. Because I know it's Black History Month, and people been on that bullshit.
Oh, man, that stuff don't bother me, bro.
No. It's not even about bothering. It's setting the tone.
That's cool.
Because, around Black History Month, we get all these weirdo trolls. If they see young black men streaming, they come in here with that bullshit.
You know what it means? You know what it means, man? It means we're doing something right.
Exactly. I was going to get to that. I was going to end on a good note. I was going to end on the positive side. And that's what I was saying. Hey, if you don't have trolls, they come and go, man. It's part of the game, right? But also I want to give out I'm bringing back my quickie segment, all right? We got a few quickies here. Detroit is getting a Hollywood sign. I don't know why. I just thought that was funny to report. Detroit's my hometown for those of you who don't know. I'm from Detroit. We're getting a Hollywood sign. Don't know why, but that's funny. Also, shout out to Post Malone for curating the soundtrack for the new WWE game. And he's also in the game. You can be Big Posty, baby, for all my wrestling fans or wrestling fans out there, aka Darkstar, in the audience. Also, Apple. Seeing a big return on the Apple Vision Pros. Wonder why? Maybe we'll talk about that on the next episode of Super Weapon. Who knows? But I got a few ideas. Keep that to myself. Also, last but not least, Michelle Rodriguez, come to the front of the congregation. That's my girl, man. I love you, Michelle. I watched every Fast and the Furious movie, all right? I'm down. 10 toes down. But you ain't got to promote Skull and Bones. You can come work for us. All right. If you need the money, come on over here. Work with us. Stop. You don't even look like you want to promote that game. How much did they pay you? Anyway, that's all, folks. We enjoy you guys. Thank you for coming by. We'll see you next week. I'll let my boy Darius. What are we gonna play, man?
Hopefully Helldivers today, man. Thank you guys for hanging out. It's the end of the audio version. If you guys are here in the chat, hang around. We're gonna play some video games. See you later. Peace.
Michelle, you ain't gotta do